Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Coach O'Connor from St. Leo University here in Florida. Welcome, Coach.
Hey, boss. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Coach and I got to work together probably 10 odd years ago, working camps at IMG and whatnot. But and I think my link to St. Leo is my aunt used to work in their career services office there at St. Leo, and I had an intern work for me at IMG who was a St. Leo grad. So just
Nice.
you're I think you're maybe an hour, about what, hour and a half, 2 hours up the road from me in Bradenton ballpark. Yeah.
About that, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems to be getting harder and harder with more and more traffic on 75. But
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
about that.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, let's just jump right in and talk about the recruiting side of things. You were at St. Leo for a long time, left for a few years to coach Division I, came back. So just kind of, I guess we'll focus on your St. Leo recruiting. But when are you looking at players? Like, what year in high school does your kind of basic recruiting cycle really start for St. Leo?
So it's kind of a strange kind of question just for my individual situation right now. I remember when I first started at St. Leo many moons ago, I went down to Fort Myers to State Cup when down on Kelly Road and this was in April and May, and we were actively recruiting seniors in high school that were playing under 18s for that August, and that was normal. And then as time moves on, right now for this coming fall, I am 99% focused on either internationals or transfer students in the transfer portal. Um, it's it's a unique situation just where I am currently in my return to St. Leo and what I inherited and so on. But generally speaking, I'll be honest, as a D2 institution, I'm not really looking at juniors too much. I think if we're going back to having an elite program, and if a junior is that good that they want to commit to us, excellent. However, there's a very, very, very good chance that there's going to be some D1 school that's going to try and get them. So why would I spend all of my time focusing on these younger players when there's literally 1,500 players in the transfer portal now, that their recruiting process is so much simpler than that of an incoming kid? And a transfer wants to know three things. Can I afford it? Do you have my degree? But most importantly there, am I going to play? But once we have those three questions answered, everything else becomes minutiae. But we don't really care about the package that you're going to get of equipment, or whether you're a Nike or Adidas school, or where did you finish in conference and all that kind of stuff. So right now, just because of my unique situation, it's more tailored there. That being said, moving forward, I'm looking to continue to improve upon it and generate my relationships with the club coaches, so that, hey, I'm talking to a club coach now about one of his juniors who's fantastic. So that's the process moving forward. But just right now in my unique spot, it's more focused on the older players.
Makes sense. So you mentioned going down to State Cup, right, back in the day, but what are the events that you have on your must see list that you're recruiting at every year?
In a moving forward again, because of the last 5 years between Corona, me moving, coming back, and so on. Moving forward, it would be ECNL, GAL, and then Disney is close by, or State Cup is this weekend, which is very local. That would be it. And then obviously any international travel that I'm going to look to make as well.
So obviously you talked about transfers, so, and you just mentioned international. So how focused, what's the mix in terms of your international players that you try to bring in?
I'm just looking at my board. This coming fall, we're going to have Sweden, the Netherlands, Puerto Rico, England, Sweden, Northern Ireland, Israel, and Switzerland.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you seeing all those players play in person?
Some of them,
Yeah.
of them, yes.
Okay.
The budget's really good, but it's not amazing.
I was gonna say that'd be I'm gonna come on your staff just so I can
Exactly, yeah.
do some travel.
And I've also got my wife at home that she's just somewhat of the travel agent as well,
Okay.
telling me when I can and can't go.
I can relate. I can relate to that. So what about camps? Do you guys do ID camps? Do you work at other schools' camps? How do camps fit into your recruiting profile?
I do work up to this point. That the only real camp that I've worked away from St. Leo has been Florida State, in large part because of the relationship that I had with the previous coaches. I can go up there for pre-season and learn and watch from some top-class coaches. Here now at St. Leo, we do 3 ID camps a year. I limit the numbers that come simply because we don't want 100 kids, because I can't watch and coach and get to know 100 kids in a day. So we literally cut it off at 40, where myself and my staff can really get to know, coach, spend time with, and build a relationship with these kids, so that we've got a head start on that building process if they do come. And that's becoming a pretty big part of our recruitment. Well, look, I need to see you play on campus. I want to be able to see you over the course of a day. So we do that. And then once the kids have been here, they've got a much better idea for if they want to come into our environment as well.
Yeah, no, I like that. So whether it's at a camp or a tournament or whatever, what is your hierarchy of things that check the boxes for you in terms of a St. Leo player, whether it's on the field or off the field stuff?
So our number one thing is the culture within the squad, and you have to be a great teammate. And a great teammate is not being nice to everyone. A great teammate is having the opportunity and the strength to be honest with everyone. But that means you've got to be honest as well, whether it's to yourself and to everyone else. So being a great teammate is key. And then from there, when you're in this program, we have 4 basic cornerstones that every single player needs to have if they're going to play. The first one is you have to be fit. You've got to be incredibly competitive, because it's about winning ultimately. You've got to be very physical, because it's a very, very physical league that we're in. A few years ago, St. Leo women's soccer actually led the nation in yellow cards. So that's a stat. We didn't get any red cards,
okay,
but we got 1 or 2 yellows. And then finally, when the other team has the ball, everyone is a defender. Once we have those 4 criteria within the program, then we'll talk about formations, tactics, and that kind of thing. But if you think you can come and play here and not be fit, or you can play here but you're not going to challenge for a header or go and win a 50-50, you're really going to struggle to get into this team.
Yeah. Okay. So with being Division II, you do have some athletic money there, but most people are generally curious about the financial implications of making their next steps and choosing a college. So how does the overall financial aid picture look at St. Leo with regards to academic, athletic, and grants and scholarships and everything like that?
So a big part of the reason for me to come back was so that we need to be in a position where we can compete nationally. And obviously that involves having excellent scholarships, whether it's both from an academic standpoint or from our standpoint, from a soccer standpoint. So we are very, very close to the NCAA limit with our scholarships. but the institutional scholarships that we offer here are fantastic as well. And we're one of the cheapest schools still in the conference. So it allows us to, if we find the right student with the good grades, and then I can complement that with soccer money, I don't have to give a full scholarship to get a very good player. I think the whole package that we have, from the location here to the campus is a holiday camp. We're on a lake, we have a golf course, like we've got all these different things. But yeah, ultimately the students do need the scholarships in order to be able to attend here. But in the past, we've done a very good job of being able to attract the right talent.
Oh, that's awesome. And you mentioned the awesomeness of campus in terms of what it offers. So, besides me just going around and clicking through the website, give me, you've been there a long time. Give me the inside nitty gritty on what makes St. Leo such an awesome place.
The campus is beautiful. Like there's a palm tree every 2 yards by the that's how it feels. It's just such a relaxing place when you're walking across campus. There's so much grass, everyone's welcoming, but the facilities that we've got here are top notch. We've got a turf, soccer, lacrosse and women's lacrosse stadium on top of a 2-story parking garage. We have our game stadium, and we've also got an even bigger practice facility that we don't even train on. We do everything on the game field. You can walk anywhere on campus. And I think just once we get a student on campus, there's a very, very good chance that they want to come here. So getting the kids here is great. Some of the internationals that I've mentioned, one of them is actually coming here after visiting the campus. And I don't want to talk about scholarships too much, but the scholarship from a soccer standpoint that this particular kid is getting in the first year isn't that big. And I think she was attracted in part by the environment that she's going to be a part of all day, every day.
Yeah, no, that's great. I know it's as close as it is. It's still a campus I haven't been to personally, so I know I got to get myself up there. Academics is obviously a big part of the experience, and we want to make sure kids are successful. So, how do student athletes at St. Leo balance the soccer side with the school side, and what kind of support mechanisms does the school offer to make sure that the kids are successful?
Well, I think first and foremost, every single school is going to talk about how good their academics are. Like we can always find some sort of study or magazine that ranks someone somewhere in the top 100 in terms of degrees, whatever. All I can say is our team GPA last semester was a 3.65. And when I came up to St. Leo in July, I ended up with 35 players. And we still got a 3.65. Well, I mean, high grades, but that's a hell of a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I think that what we can say that 99% of other schools probably can't say is that I had a master's degree before I started at St. Leo. Since coming back or being at St. Leo originally, I got another master's degree from St. Leo. So if that doesn't say how important and how strong the academics are here, I don't really know what does. But from the support standpoint, it's very, very difficult to fail here. You're going to be given a very, very challenging curriculum, but you're going to be given every opportunity to be successful within that academic field. Small class sizes, the technology that we have on campus is immense. You can study and become the best version of you from an academic standpoint here if you choose to do so.
Okay, that's great. Well, in terms of classes, and you mentioned practice, can you walk me through what a typical week during the season would look like for a player, from like kind of in terms of when they're waking up to going to class and practice, and how kind of, I know there's no such thing as a typical week, but
Sure, yeah.
pick one and kind of walk me through what it would be like for a player.
Well, I think if there's one thing that's evolved in the time of Corona,
Sorry.
is that everyone has had to become flexible and adaptable. So in a given week in season, three things are going to be consistent with every player in the program. You're going to be busy. You're going to be tired. And you're going to be sore. Like once we get those three things out of the way, like they're going to be consistent, whether you're in season, out of season, or whatever. We then need to figure out how you can manage your time as best as possible. Now there's more and more kids that are not necessarily going into a classroom setting, but a professor is able to do to teach a class on a Zoom call and then use technology onto a whiteboard so that the student can literally watch the class at a point in time that's going to suit them. That's not to say that we're going to put our training times ahead of classes. But if we're lifting at 6:30 in the morning and a kid is meant to be in an 8 o'clock class, which is now on a recorded Zoom time, she may feel more comfortable and better watching that class and taking that class at 6 p.m. at night. So that gives a student that flexibility to go and study at a time when they feel they can be more involved in the class. But generally it's class in the morning, lunch, a little bit of downtime, maybe some study hall. We then have training in the afternoon before dinner and studying at night. And then you've got to factor into that lifting, meetings where we watch video. You might be wanting to go out do some individual work with the coaching staff as well. And we've not even spoke about going to the movies, going to the mall, dinner, having a snooze and so on. So kids are busy, but the student athlete's ability to manage time will only benefit them. Because if you get homework in a class on a Monday that's due on a Friday, if you start that homework Monday, you're doing it to get an A. If you start that homework on Thursday night, you're doing it to hand in. And there's a big difference there.
Yeah, for sure. So you guys are in the Sunshine State Conference. It's a very tough conference. What does your non-conference schedule look like? What does your kind of travel look like overall?
This past season, we played 5 top 25 teams in the nation. So that was outside of the conference schedule. So the program I inherited, it was the toughest time for these kids to be in a situation where there's a new coach coming in, doing things now that we've done in the past where we've been successful. So it was a really tough year, but it only gave them the experience. So moving forward, we should be much better. But for the non-conference schedule, I like for us to play as many good teams as we can. Like at the end of the day, we're only playing soccer. So whether we're going to try and play a team that we know we're going to beat 5-0, why not try and compete against a team that's going to be really, really tough? Because at the end of the day, we've each only got a limited number of games. Let's create an opportunity to have great memories. That also allows us to create a culture of a program as well, where we can have fun and work with each other, and hopefully from there move onwards and upwards. So I think this coming season, most of our non-conference schedule is home, simply because of the way the matchups were in the past seasons. We're still working on 1 or 2 players and 1 or 2 teams that we're going to be able to compete with, and we're using the schedule to attract players. Hey, come and play for us at St. Leo, simply because look at the schedule you can compete against. So we're kind of using the schedule both ways, but it's still a work in progress.
No, that's great. let's talk, more about the team and the soccer side of things. You mentioned 35 players on the roster. What's your target roster size that you'd like to have moving forward?
24 is ample.
Yeah.
It used to be 18, and now in time it's getting a little bit more. We're playing more and more games in a condensed period. It's becoming way more challenging physically, and we need more better players. What numbers in the 30s is far too many.
You may or may not be surprised to hear that I think you're the lowest number I've been given in one of these interviews is 24. So
Really?
Yeah. I think it's that I guess if I had to put an average on it, I'd probably say 28 is probably what the average is that people tell me. But and that's all divisions, not including the guys that are doing developmental squads and that kind of thing. But like
Sure.
yeah.
I just think, I mean, maybe schools have put, roster minimums
Yeah,
out there.
a lot of them have numbers they
But
have to hit. Yeah.
yeah, but from like again, that's another great thing about St. Leo is the former men's coach is the AD. The more players I have, the more money that's got to be spread out over the squad, which is the less that each player can have. And in that case, I'm spending money on 25, 26, 27, 28. Could that money be put into data analytics, which is going to benefit 1 to 10?
Yeah.
So they're the trade-offs that we have. But just from a touches on the ball standpoint, less is more.
Yeah. Yeah. What about your soccer staff besides you? Who else is part of the team, and what role do they play?
Another great thing, and which was a big part of me coming back to St. Leo, I have 2 assistants. My first assistant played for me. She was a 3-time All-American. She was the conference player of the decade.
Wow.
So she not only, she played here and knows St. Leo, but she automatically has the respect of the players, based even simply on her resume. My second player actually played for me at my D1 school, and we brought her back from playing professionally in Spain. So my number one job is to recruit, and my most important recruits are my assistant coaches. So from a coaching standpoint, we're all set. One's a striker, one's a more defensive player. I'm a goalkeeper myself. So the whole squad is looked after in that regard. Then once our staff is set, then my support staff becomes vital. Between my strength coach, my certified athletic trainer, and my performance analyst / social media coach, those 3 all provide a vital service to us. There's no point in having great players if they're not healthy or they're not strong, or we can't look at the data to make sure that we keep them peaking for as long as possible. So I've got a fantastic squad around me that are only going to benefit the players' performance on the pitch.
Speaking of performance on the pitch, how would you describe your team style of play, your style of coaching for the squad? I'm not pigeonholing you into telling me it's a 4-4-2. No, just in general, how would you describe it to anybody who'd be curious on the soccer side of things?
We want to go forward quickly.
Yeah.
The goal is in the other half of the pitch. There's no point in possessing the ball if we're going to give it away in our half. But that doesn't mean to say we just want to smack the crap out of it and run after it. It all depends on the personnel we have. But again, I go back to the 4 cornerstones: fit, physical, and we all defend, and so on. That's vital. I know I've been known in the past for being incredibly physical and incredibly direct. But at that point in time, I had a 6-foot forward who was a 3-time All-American. The tactics should be give the best players the ball, and then we play around that. So it all really depends on the squad that we have in place at that particular time. But yeah, it's always nice to play quality soccer, but I'd much rather win a game playing poorly than lose a game where we've been fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're chatting here in the spring. So what does a typical off-season program look like for you guys?
Do you mean for the players
Yeah,
in over summer?
yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah, spring season and summer.
oh,
What does that look like for players?
spring is all about individual development. Um, I personally make sure that every player gets to play in every single game. Um, I mean, that's why they're here, so we want every player to get the opportunity to enjoy the experience of playing. And ideally, players that might have been lower down the roster in fall, they'll get to start or come on very early in spring. But the individual development, which is all down to the players and their desire and attitude, is key. The weight room is also becoming a more integral part of the players' development so that they can remain fit and healthy. And then once we get into the summer, we get given them the summer teams that they can be on, as well as the summer program that we send to them so that they can maintain their strength. But I think we obviously understand as well that some downtime is really, really key for them as well. They need some time away from me and St. Leo and soccer and emails and so on. So I think sometimes less is more, and we need to pay attention to the things that we can control. And if everything is important, nothing's important.
Yep, yep, for sure. Well, Coach, you've given us a lot of insight. I really appreciate it. I'll leave you with one final question, which is kind of the catch-all that I use. What didn't we talk about? What else would you want people to know about either the school or the team or the program or anything else?
I think over time that what's become apparent is it's becoming a harder time for kids coming into a college environment because they're quite simply not prepared. That they don't know what it's going to be like. The best advice I'd give to any kid is come to the school, come and have a look at the team that you're looking to play on, and okay, how many players are you better than? Like, what level of fitness are you at compared to them? Because most freshmen now coming in, they just want to play, but we're here to win, and there's a vast difference between those two levels. And unless you're mentally strong enough to be able to work on that, you're going to get left behind because the gap is just going to grow. So the more homework that the student athlete and the parents can do as early as possible in the process, the more knowledgeable they're going to be moving forward through the process. The last thing we want is to spend hours recruiting a kid for them to get here. It isn't what they expect and they end up quitting. That's just not good for the player, the parents, and certainly the school. So the more we can educate each kid, the better.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Well, Coach, I appreciate the time. Wish you the best of luck here in the fall. I think I'll have to see when the schedule comes out. Hopefully, we can get up to a game and see the school and see you guys play.
That'd be
Uh,
great. We'd love to have you guys.
awesome. Well, I appreciate it, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good.
Okay, sorry, I can't find my stop record button now. This is weird.